action figure review.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Collector Side. I am your host, the Collector, and here for tonight's review is the s.h.figuarts Iron Man 2 Hall of Armor Iron Man Mark IV. This figure is awesome. I have to say, this figure is awesome. I love the Iron Man Hall of Armor. Just the whole set is great. I love this piece. The figure is great, so poseable. If any of you have seen my Instagram post with my pose for the ground pound, you'll see what I'm talking about. And so one thing I want to get out of the way real quick is please make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video. The more subscribers I have, the more of these videos I can do, the more of them I can get out there and reach more people with them. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Thank you very much. And without further ado, let's get to the Iron Man Mark IV Hall of Armor set. Now, as you can see, it's got a nice big box here. First of all, before I forget, I'd like to introduce our very special guest to this evening. His name is Tushy. That's right. He will be helping me out tonight. And what do you have to say, Tushy, about the packaging? What do you think of the packaging? I personally am thinking it's a lot of wasted space. It really doesn't do anything for me. Figuarts never really wins any awards when it comes to their packaging, but in this particular instance, there's just a lot of extra wasted space on this box. What do you think, Tushy? Right. So, here we go. I'm going to plop this box open. Alright, now, if you guys can see that, basically in here what we've got is we've got the Hall of Armor, we've got the figure insert. Okay? Now, the reason that I am not a huge fan of this is because, and I'll show you why. Let's get a closer look in here. Alright. Yeah. Okay. Let's bring that down a little bit. Okay. Just going to bring this down a little more towards eye level. Okay. Now, as you can see, this box is a lot of wasted space, and this is why. The figure and tray come out like that. Look at all that wasted plastic. All of this is unnecessary, in my opinion. Look how deep that box is. It's very deep. Okay, look at that. It's a lot of wasted space. They could either put this in here sideways, bring the box up a little bit higher, and cut out all of this extra material, this whole section of box. They could lose that entire section. Or they could have an insert on top of the Hall of Armor, make this a little bigger, and then inset the Iron Man figure into the Hall of Armor itself and package it inside the Hall of Armor. That would be also acceptable. But they didn't do that. It's a lot of wasted space, in my opinion. I just, it just kind of... let's get out the Hall of Armor, start with that, because I love this. This is so great. And I have the batteries already installed, so you guys can get a sense of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go turn off the light. Look at that. How cool is that? Look how nice that is. Look at this. Isn't that lovely? Got the backlighting here. There's backlighting over here on each side. See that? You got the vents that are lit up, the side panels. Very, very cool. I absolutely love this accessory. It's really awesome. I love that. And it also, in the package here, let me turn the light back on so you can see it clearly. You have these little tabs that connect all the other Hall of Armor Iron Man displays. So you go to the side here, you pull that little piece out, and you've got this little pocket there. You get that piece, connect it, and then it'll snap into the other Hall of Armors, and it'll connect them, which is really nice. Okay. So that's that. Lovely. Alright, now for the meat and potatoes. Okay. First of all, I want to start with some of the accessories. We got 4 pairs of hands We've got 2 fisted hands that are on the figure. We've got 3 other pairs of hands that are inset here in the packaging. And now, one thing I want to say is, as far as the Marvel movie licenses go, as far as the other figures in the line go, I feel like this is probably the best likeness of one of the actors that Figuarts has made for themselves. So if you guys can see that, Tony Stark, that Robert Downey Jr. is pretty fantastic. Now, it has basically it's a faceplate, which is really cool. I like how they did this. It's very interesting. So what they have here is you've got the sunglasses Iron Man, Tony and his glasses. You pop off the front plate, and here is the socket for the neck. And then you pop in the next faceplate, and you've got the whole head. Paint applications are really nice. Highlights in the hair, just like in Iron Man 2 when he's got that little bit of frostiness going on. And I recommend keeping this little box there. Alright, so now as far as the other accessories go, we've got some repulsor blasts. We've got donuts. We have this little neck piece that fits on the unhelmeted Tony. And we've got these other pairs of hands. Now, there are 4 pieces here. There's 1 for each calf and 1 piece for each shoulder area. Those are the flaps. So when you pull this standard piece of armor off, there's going to be one of those flaps that connects right onto the shoulder there. And what that does is that shows off his little inner workings, if you want to call it that, his stabilizers, his little vent fans. Do I have the right one? I may have the wrong one. Yes, I do. There we go. Alright, so you pop that on, and then what's cool is it looks like he's got his stabilizers out. You can kind of see that. Okay. So that's very cool. I like that. And then the calves pop off here. If you can get your fingernail in there, and as you can see, he's got those little air blast stabilizers right there. It's hard to see. There it is. And the other calf piece, it's propped open, so you get a nice little view of the details. So nice details. So as far as the rest of the accessories, we've got a couple of things going on here. We've got rocket boosters, we've got repulsor glass, both big and small. We have these that go into the feet for the rocket boosts. And we've also got open palms to fire these rocket boosters from the palms. Okay, which is very cool. Now, one thing also to take note of, the feet are die cast, which is really interesting. None of the other parts are die cast. I would have loved if this was a die cast figure. How awesome would that be? You know, I mean, Mezco could do it for what was it, 90, I think, or 90 or $100 for the Iron Man. I think they could manage to figure that out for Iron Man. But, you know, it's really, they're 2 different figures. The Mezco Iron Man is a really fantastic piece. It's great in so many different ways than this. This is great in so many different ways from the Mezco figure. Articulation and range of motion are excellent. Really top notch. And if you can see here, one thing that I really love is that the legs pop down like that. And that allows for a lot of range of motion to get some extra poses. Now, if you put the legs back in, you can kind of, like his ab crunch, I'm trying to keep the torso straight, but ab crunch is pretty good going forward. Going backward is really where you see a more significant difference, and it's far more pronounced. And that's because he, you know, like in the films, he's gonna, in the comics really too, he has his jet propelled flying pose. So you can see that. All right, now as far as joints, okay, I'll just do the one side because it's really redundant to do both sides because it's the same stuff. But as you can see here, there's a lot of range of motion in the shoulder. You see how that pivots and rotates back and forth? It's really nicely done. This, unlike some of the other Figuarts figures, there is upper bicep swivel, double elbow joint, and we've got a really amazing range of motion. Look at that. We've got the peg, a little peg for the fist. So now the only thing that's a little disappointing is that I would have liked to have more of a hinge for the fist, but I'm not upset about it. That's just being really nitpicky. Now as far as the legs go, there is upper thigh swivel, but what's interesting is there is upper thigh swivel because the upper thigh has its own ball and socket joint. There's a socket in the upper thigh, a ball joint coming from the upper thigh where it attaches into the pelvis. And inside the pelvis is such a really interesting construction. If you can see how they decided to engineer this, there's some hinges, there's a ball and socket joint in there. Now the socket is this little ball here, and then there's a bar, like a ball and a bar attached that goes through and attaches into the torso, and it's on its own kind of hinge. So it allows for you to pull that down and put him in my all-time favorite, always go-to Iron Man pose, which is the ground a pound. Now, one thing I love about this particular ground pound is it's very fluid, it's very natural, and you really get excellent range of motion for this ground pound. He has such a great look, if you guys can see that. His landing is spectacular, and you just pivot his arm into the desired look. See that? Now what I love about this is it's so natural. If you guys can see that, it's so natural the way he lands. Now one thing that I do like about what Figuarts is all about is if you look on the back here in the box and in other places too, it says s.h.figuarts is a new standard figure series that uses the art style of Bandai action figures to successfully pursue character expression through humanoid action. What does that mean? That means that this is such a natural pose. Now I'm going to be a goofball. I'm going to just move this back here, and I'm going to just demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. Okay? If you're you're trying to do a pose for a photograph, or you're in cosplay or whatever, look at your body and look at the way the figure is posed. Now what's really cool is, as you can see up on the table here, see how natural the figure pose is. And I'll show you, this is basically what you're doing when you're landing. Is you've got your arm down like that, your knee is up here by your torso. Now if you've got armor, it might be pushed back a little bit, but then you've got your knee down on the ground, whatever leg you choose, and boom, you're landing. And you got one hand back this way. So if you see how close together everything is, and you're kind of moving around like an idiot, but my point is, when you're posed like that, see how the human body does it, and then you go and you look at the Figuarts figure. And I love that. Look how natural that pose is. You see how natural that landing is, the way you can position the figure. It's really hard to do in a lot of the other Iron Man figures. Hot Toys does a good job of it for some. Not all of the Iron Man figures. But you can see my point. How natural the engineering of the joints allows you to pose Iron Man. So that's one of my favorite things about this figure. Okay, now I'm going to straighten him out and get him to do a couple of other things. Basically, as far as the shoulder pad goes, it's on a hinge. It's a little floppy. It's a little annoying in some instances, but I don't mind it. I forgive it. It's really not that big of a deal. And I just, I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest. Whoops. Look at that. There we go. Just probably forgot to put this back on. Anyway, so now I don't mind the gaps so much. Like if you've seen one of my other reviews, and please go check them out, one of my Spider-Man reviews, he has a couple of gaps that look a little goofy, but I don't mind the gaps, and I'll tell you why. The reason I don't mind the gaps is because of the amount of range of motion and articulation in these figures. So the gaps don't bother me because you can get some really dynamic poses out of these Iron Man figures and these Spider-Man figures and pretty much most of the lineup of figures that they make. Now, if you have a nice stand, which I don't unfortunately have with me, but what I can do is pop out make sure I get the right hand, but put that there. See, now you have a regular hand with the repulsor, kind of like silver repulsor here, if you can kind of see that. It's okay. It's not the best, but it's not bad. And then another hand is literally your repulsor blasting hand, and it's angled up higher, which I really like. This, I probably wouldn't use that other hand very much. This is what I like to see. So when you want to do any kind of a repulsor blast, you basically, there's a little piece here on the fists. You just pop that part off and you swap it out with the other hands to give you the armor guard, the wrist guard that's on the armor. So you can see that I swapped that out. That little piece. Come on, focus. All right. So this gives you a really nice repulsor blast kind of pose. Right? And when you get him down on the ground, you can do some very dynamic action-y Iron Man poses. And one thing also, I like the stability of the die-cast foot because it adds a little weight and support to Iron Man. See? And actually you can even just pivot him a little more. He needs to be more pivoted. There we go. There we go. So like that. Something like that's cool. He's blasting. So that's pretty neat. I like that. And that's basically it. So what else did something else I missed? Oh, right. One before I forget. Great ankle pivot here. Toes move up and down. Nice stability when you put him in the Hall of Armor. I'll pop him out and put him in the Hall of Armor. But all in all, this figure is fantastic. I highly recommend adding it to your collection, especially if you're collecting Hall of Armor, just because it's the armor. It's one of my favorites, and that little hinge keeps popping out, which is annoying me. It's one of my favorites, but my personal Iron Man armor favorite from the films is the Mark III. That's my personal favorite armor. Paint applications are really good. No problems here. Nice metallic looking reds. Very bright. Nothing chipped from what I can see. No defects in my figure. The gold isn't overlapping the red or touching on anything else. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And let's get him positioned in the Hall of Armor. Getting him to stand straight. Because he does so much. Okay. Get him. Use a solid surface if you want to just straighten the armor out. And let's get in there. That's the only thing that's a little problematic, is I wish that they maybe had a little foot peg or something in the Hall of Armor piece, in the Hall of Armor display, to just kind of help you out a little bit. But there we go. I'm going to turn the light off again so you can see that lit up. And that just about wraps it up for my Iron Man Hall of Armor s.h.figuarts review. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? Love it. I love the whole light up thing. It looks really great. And I like how there's a light on top that highlights the mask. All right. Well, that brings us to the end. So thank you very much for tuning into The Collector Side. I am your host, The Collector. I really appreciate you watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Find my Facebook page. Like and follow my Facebook page. If you want to see more of these reviews, I need those likes. I need those subscribers. I need those followers to be able to bring more content to you, because it's just the way all these companies work. They don't look at you if you don't have the followers. So join me. Become my minions. Join me. Thank you very much for watching once again. I will also be putting a link to purchase this figure from Entertainment Earth down in the description below. You can find it there. I think it is it's back in stock. It was temporarily out of stock. I have to double check, but I'll put the link in there. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is also put the link to all the Figuarts figures, so you can just check them out, pick whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Much appreciated. Take care. Happy collecting. Keep calm. Pose on. Talk to you soon. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Like and subscribe to my page and my channel and all that other stuff. Share it. Do whatever you got to do. Take care. Happy collecting, guys.